one and all, Jasper here, and you all know the drill at this point. I'll be diving into the third episode of Hot D and pointing out all the changes they made from the books. Spoiler warning for not only the episode but future episodes, as if there is a discrepancy that affects future events, it will be mentioned. Ready? Then let's get right into it. We start off with what seems to be the Pirates of the Stepstones. In fact, I've been rather quiet on the Stepstones in these videos because I've been confused on what the situation is. In the first episode, Corlys talks about how the Triarchy is invading the Stepstones and rooting out the pirates. In the second episode, when Corlys talks about them saying they are pirates funded by the Free Cities. And in this very episode, it's clear that these are forces of the Triarchy, and the Crab Feeder is their Prince Admiral who took the Stepstones for the Triarchy. In the books, it's simple. The Triarchy conquers the Stepstones, and Kragas is in charge of the Navy. Corlys wants to go to war with them because they begin charging a toll for passing ships that's so high, some of the merchants begin to miss the pirates. Next, we have this nobody called Kragas Drahar, Prince Drahar. His actual title, from what I understand, is Prince Admiral, not Prince, as Mir is governed by Magisters and the Triarchy itself as well. So as far as I'm aware, he is not royalty, and is just in charge of the Triarchy's navy and possibly army. Daemon flies in on Caraxes, torching up the place, and the enemy fires flaming arrows at him. First off, fire arrows are dumb. Second off, fire arrows against a dragon is really dumb. It's like tying an ice cube to an arrow and shooting it at a White Walker. I don't think it's going to cause much damage. The next scene we come across, we are greeted to a feast, and as everyone is celebrating Aegon's name day, Tywin Lannister brings up the situation in the Stepstones to Viserys. From this interaction and others later in the episode, it seems that Viserys is not supporting Daemon and Corlys. However, in the books, he was quick to send financial aid to them to assist in their war, because it was just better if they should win versus the Triarchy. Also, what the fuck, Kristen? What do you mean you don't know where she is? You are a Kingsguard member. Your one job is to stay next to Rhaenyra and keep her safe. What are you doing here? We then later see Rhaenyra in the Godswood, and since I failed to mention it before, I'll bring it up now. There are no weirwood trees in the Godswood like this one. Jumping over a couple of scenes, we eventually get to see this massive hunting party, which I feel is likely a very expensive apology to George R.R. Martin, since he has voiced his displeasure for the previous hunting parties, such as Robert, who is marching along with Renly and Barristan with just a spear. Nothing that I noticed in this hunting party outright conflicts with the source material, so I'll mainly point out situation that seems very odd. Case in point, when Jason Lannister brings up the idea of Rhaenyra wedding him, he also stupidly brings up how she will inevitably be put below Aegon for inheritance. But why would he? Surely Rhaenyra would be a better match if she was queen, so if you were able to organize this match, you would want to support her as her right to be queen, to make House Lannister even more powerful than if she was just a princess. Who knows though, maybe he's just an idiot. We get a few more marriage proposals. Otto Hightower brings up the idea of Aegon wedding Rhaenyra, originally proposed by Alicent Hightower in the books. However, it was dismissed on account of the age difference, as well as the two not getting along. In the show, it seems to only be because of the age difference, which makes sense, as in the books Rhaenyra is 10 years older, but in the show she is 15 years older. This next bit isn't a contradiction at all, but it is in fact fucking stupid. Criston Cole getting knocked on his ass so easily by a boar, likely because he was blessed with the reaction speed of a tree. And then the boar goes and attacks Rhaenyra, and she holds the beast back for 7 seconds before being saved. Fuck no, she is dead. Unless you're built like a Clegane, there is no way you could hold that beast off for that long. Hell, one killed Robert. Granted, he was drunk, but no, fuck you, she's dead now. Skipping ahead, we have a scene where Alicent and Viserys are hanging out by a fire. No, not that fire. The next one after the hunt? Yeah, thank you. A letter was sent from Vaemon Valerion with all sorts of bullshit changes from the books, but I'll comment on those later. In the meantime, we need to talk about some matchmaking. Viserys gives Rhaenyra permission to wed as she pleases. No. Not happening. Did not happen at all. In fact, she was forced to marry Laenor Valerion, and when she refused, Viserys threatened to name Aegon as his heir. Only then did she relent. I'm curious how they will justify her marriage to Leonor, considering she isn't really his type, missing a bat and pair of balls that he could play with if you catch my meaning. We finally get some scenes involving the war for the Stepstones. It seems to portray the situation as quite bleak and that they are in fact losing the war. While we don't know much about the war, I can say for certain that they were not losing. By this time in the books, Daemon conquered all but 2 of the islands despite having a smaller army, all thanks to his dragon. So I don't think anyone would say that they are losing, especially considering they're the only ones gaining territory at the moment. We get a nice look at this war council going over strategies, and there's an interesting addition. Leonor Valerion. In the books, he is 14 years old at this point, so it's clear they aged him up. And despite being a dragon rider, there is no mention of him assisting in the war for the Stepstones, probably because he was a bit too young. Then again, Robb Stark went to war at 15, so it's not impossible for him to be present, though I doubt he would be coming up with any amazing tactics. Vaemond is here, and now we can bring up some of the stuff that was mentioned in the letter. He is said to be Corlys' brother in the show, but in actuality he should be the nephew. He is also an idiot when he says Daemon is the reason they are losing the war. This is a level of retardation you do not come across often, as in the books, Daemon is the sole reason they are winning the war because he's a dragon rider. Granted, with the aging up of Leonor, he is less important, but unless he is making terrible decisions that we have not seen, such a statement is ludicrous. Skipping ahead, Daemon then assaults a messenger that Viserys is sending aid. I already mentioned that Viserys was already supporting the war, so this is pointless. And now we can get to the worst part of this episode, the battle. I won't go over the stupidity of the strategy or plan, since technically that is not a contradiction. I'll save that for my review podcast, which should be coming out tomorrow. So keep an eye out, and if you're interested in seeing that, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. In the meantime, I hope you all stay safe, have a wonderful day, and see you all till next time.